with me. My name is Wes Johnson. I'm not a stand-up comic. I'm not a stand-up guy. I'm not an upstanding citizen. Hell, I don't even stand up for things I believe in. If in fact at any point in this set I do stand up, trust me, you'll be just as surprised as I am. Oh man. Being in a wheelchair does make things a little more difficult for me. Like there's never a ramp to get on stage. I'm literally one of the only comedians who needs a big hand to get up here. They're like, let's give a big hand to Wes Johnson. No, really, we need two guys with strong backs. And it puts a lot of pressure on me because if I'm not funny and everybody leaves, I'm stuck up here. We give a new meeting to I'll be here all week. Yeah, man. Another problem I have is my hands don't work. So I have to call ahead and I'm like, what's the deal with the mic? So the guy said, do you think you can get your hands around a big, thick black one? Like, I hope he knows I'm talking about the microphone. And there's not just a big black guy named Mike that works here. That gets awkward real fast, people. Oh. I don't know. Because white guys don't have big black dicks. That's the reason. Some people have a hard time laughing at a guy in a wheelchair. Not you monsters, I'm getting there. Y'all took right to it and I appreciate it. But I'll tell you my story and how I got here. Yeah, I rolled right in. 6 years ago, I was in an off-road accident. It was a regular road, I just went off it. I rolled a Jeep over 4 times. So technically it was an off-road, on-road, off-road, on-road, off-road, on-road, off-road, on-road accident. But who's counting, right? The police, that's who. The police counted, and that's how they could tell how fast I was going. And then they wrote me a ticket for reckless driving. Yeah, to add insult to injury, literally. Which I thought was bull, because when the police got there, I wasn't driving. I was actually laying in the street, which is not illegal, but I do not recommend it. Because the accident left me paralyzed with no feeling from about here down, which is good for comedy, because if you don't laugh at my jokes, you can only hurt my feelings from here up. So there's like a 25% chance that if you don't laugh, I won't care. That's my motto, in a chair, don't care. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. After the accident, they life flighted me to Shands in Gainesville, which if you've ever been to a Shands, that's the good one. You don't want to wind up at Shands downtown. It's rough. So I got to go to the good Shands. They kept me on life support in ICU for a month. Which, I broke my neck. I was in pretty rough shape. And, well, I'll tell you, my sense of humor came back real quick, before, most of my other senses. So I had to find ways to entertain myself while I was in the hospital.
How?
And I'm going to tell you. So there's a couple of things I like to do. And one of them is if you're in the hospital, first thing you're going to do in the morning is you wake up just before they're going to come in. And you just lay in the bed like this. And they're going to come in, and you just don't move. Just lay there like this. And in about 30 seconds, alarms are going to go off, bells are going to go off, lights will start flashing, and you're going to get to meet everybody in the hospital. You're going to get to meet all the nurses, all the doctors. It's great. They really enjoy that when you do that in the morning, first thing. The next game I like to play, I like to do this at night. It's called Call Button Jeopardy. And this one works at night when it's late and you're bored. You just hit the call button as many times as you can. And when they finally answer, go, "Who is George Washington?" for 1,000. I'll take presidential candidates, Alex. And they love that one. So after my time at the ICU, then they sent me to rehab, which is like prison for people in wheelchairs. And I'll explain. Give me just a second. I'm going to tell you. So it's like jail for people in wheelchairs. You know, they don't have bars and guards. They just have curbs. And you're like, I'm gonna get out of here as soon as I find a ramp. And if you're good, they'll take you out for rec therapy in the courtyard. You know, that's if you're good. They've even got games there. You don't hear about them because there's no violence because we're all Crips. It's tough to get in. You know, the initiation is backbreaking and a pain in the neck. But it does come with parking up front. And we get to skip the line at Disney World. Which is not true anymore. I just found out when I was at Disney World that disabled people don't get to skip the line anymore.
What?
Yep. People were hiring disabled people as travel guides to take them to Disney World. Disgusts me. It disgusts me. Because like I said, I've been in this chair for 6 years and no one has ever offered to take me to Disney World. I live in Florida. You just scoop me up, we'll go. I won't be offended at all. There's no need now, we don't get to skip the line. You know, waited too long. But yeah, I want to know how you even get that job. Does someone just see you in a bar and they're like, "Hey man, you want to go to Disney World?" Yes, please. Is there like a disabled pimp service you could call? Gimp and Pimpin'. They break the spine, you skip the line. We got a deal, pay by the wheel. It's true, Disney World shut that down. It's a tough life for a wheelchair pimp. Oh, man. My wife and I, we've been married almost 3 years now. Thank you for 2 minutes left. Yeah. We got a special relationship. You know, it's not like most married couples. We're like a girl and a puppy. Like she wakes me up in the morning and gets me ready so I can go out. And then she goes to work and I put her around the house making messes I can't clean up. The other day I dropped some cereal and I'm like, oh man, she's going to hit me with the newspaper when she gets home. So I just wait by the door and act cute, like I can hear her keys when she's coming. It's alright, she just hits me for different reasons. No. We've actually been married long enough now that, you know, we're at that stage where it's like, you know, it's time for us to have kids. You know, according to my mother and her mother, we've reached that stage in our lives. But I would like to have kids, but I'm a little cautious because I don't know how I'm going to discipline this kid once it learns to walk. Like once it learns it can just get on something, it's like 4 inches from freedom. You know, like, get over here, I'm going to whoop that, I'm going to whoop you, get off the bed. If I find a ramp, you're getting it. But we did decide, we've done what a lot of couples would do, we adopted a cat. He's like our little fur baby. But we actually adopted a grown cat. His name is Melvin, so he's like a fur adult. And his name was Melvin, which is probably why he didn't get adopted as a kitten. There's not a lot of little girls looking for a little Melvin. But he's a good cat. The only complaint I have is he's sneaky. And it's probably a good thing we adopted a cat before we got a child, because it took about 3 days before I ran him over in his chair. Now I was watching TV, and he snuck up underneath me, and so the TV show ended, and I pulled forward, and I just heard, and so I panicked, because I didn't know if I should keep going in case I hadn't run him all the way over, and I didn't want to back up in case I had run him all the way over, you know what I'm saying? So I just parked, and my wife comes out, and she says, "You're right on top of the cat." I said, "No kidding, is that what that noise is? Which way do I need to go?" So she said, "Back up." So I back up, and he flies out from underneath me in a streak of cat fur. He gets up underneath the kitchen table, and he stays there for 3 days. He didn't come out to eat. He didn't come out for anything. And on the third day, he comes out, and he gets right in my lap. And my wife is like, "Oh, he knows you're sorry. He forgives you." I'm like, "No, he's a smart cat. He knows if he's on top of me, he can't be underneath me." Thanks a lot, folks. That's my time. I appreciate it. Mr. Wes Johnson.